Ötzi the Iceman. You know him, right? That incredibly preserved guy who met a rather unfortunate end crossing the Alps something like 5,000 years ago.
Like over 5,000. An
Yeah.
amazing find.
Absolutely. And his ancient bones, well, they're still unlocking these surprising secrets about our past. They're like silent witnesses, you know?
They really are.
So today, we're diving into a pretty groundbreaking new study. It used Ötzi and actually some other fascinating prehistoric humans to reveal something truly unexpected about the very structure of our bodies, specifically our rib cages, and how they seem to be profoundly shaped by the climate our ancestors lived in.
It's a direct link, which is fascinating.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack what these ancient bones tell us about, well, the remarkable variability within our own species, Homo sapiens, and maybe challenge some long-held assumptions about what it means to be a modern human.
And for this deep dive, we're drawing from some great sources. There are excerpts from ancient rib cages, Climate's Mark on Human Evolution, and also the detailed research paper itself.
Right, the one in Communications Biology by Jose Lopez Rey and colleagues.
That's the one. They give us a really robust look at how our anatomy might be, well, far more fluid and adaptable than we maybe once thought.
Okay, so let's start with what might seem like an unlikely hero in this story. The rib cage itself?
Right. Seems a bit specific, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's often overlooked, isn't it? Partly because ribs are, numerous, fragile. They tend to show up broken or incomplete in the fossil record.
True, they don't preserve as well as, say, a femur.
But why is studying this delicate structure actually so crucial for understanding ancient human body proportions?
Well, it's absolutely vital. The rib cage isn't just, a protective cage for organs. It forms the core of our torso.
Okay.
And that directly influences our overall body shape, our volume. Understanding its dimensions helps us reconstruct the entire body plan of ancient hominins.
So it gives clues about how they moved or metabolized energy.
That's exactly. Locomotion, metabolism, like how they generated and retained heat, even things like their respiratory capacity. Without a good idea of the rib cage, our picture of their full anatomy and how they actually lived is just, well, it's incomplete.
Right. Now, for a long time, there was this classical hypothesis about us, Homo sapiens.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was that our slender, sort of lightly built body plan was a derived feature, meaning it evolved later, it was unique to us.
Setting us apart from the stockier guys.
Yeah, distinctly setting us apart from stockier hominins, like, say, Neanderthals, or even the earlier Homo erectus. There was this prevailing idea. We were the slender ones, they were the bulky ones. Simple as that.
Yeah, that was the standard thinking for ages. And here's where the story starts to get really interesting. Even early reconstructions of Homo erectus sometimes suggested a body shape similar to ours.
Oh, really?
But then a newer, more accurate reconstruction of the Nariokotomi boy.
Ah, the famous Homo erectus skeleton.
Yeah, it revealed his rib cage was actually shorter and, well, sturdier than people had previously thought.
Okay, so stockier.
Right. And that finding really started to shift the thinking. It suggested that maybe our slender Homo sapiens body plan wasn't quite as uniquely ours as we believed.
So that initial crack in the old hypothesis kind of sets the stage perfectly for this new study's deeper dive into Homo sapiens specifically.
Precisely.
So the Nariokotomboy already started to, turn the conventional wisdom on its head a bit, showing unexpected variation even back in Homo erectus.
Mm-hmm.
But this raises the bigger question for us, for Homo sapiens. Is the slender ribcage we typically see in modern humans today a uniquely derived trait, something that evolved just with our lineage? Or is it maybe an older ancestral characteristic?
That's the core question they tackled.
And to crack this mystery, the researchers digitally reconstructed the rib cages of 4 incredible ancient Homo sapiens, each one giving us a unique window into a different time, a different climate.
It's a fantastic set of specimens. First, you've got Ötzi the Iceman himself.
Our Alpine star.
Right. Found in the Ötztal Alps, dated to about 5,300 years ago.
Yeah.
Chalcolithic period. Okay. And his skeleton shows clear signs of high physical activity, possibly from something called seasonal alpine transhumance.
Which is basically moving livestock up and down mountains with the seasons.
Exactly, moving between high pastures and lower valleys. Plus, his genome shows a big chunk of ancestry related to Anatolian Neolithic farmers. So Ötzi gives us this snapshot of a human body adapted to really challenging seasonal changes, extreme shifts.
Okay, who's next?
Then there's Nazlet Khater II. This is a male skeleton from Upper Egypt.
Egypt, okay.
And get this, carbon dated to a staggering 30,000 years ago.
30,000. Wow, that makes him the oldest human found in Egypt, right?
That's right. He lived during a very arid period there. And his skeleton shows clear signs of biomechanical adaptations, basically.
Yeah.
His bones were really robust, strong muscle attachments.
Suggesting heavy physical work.
Intense physical effort, yeah. Like mining, potentially.
Yeah.
And interestingly, he's proposed to be part of a population with sub-Saharan ancestry. So he gives us a glimpse into human variation in ancient Africa during that time.
Fascinating. Okay, specimen number 3.
Number 3 is Ohalo II H2. This is a 19,000-year-old complete adult male skeleton from Israel, found near the Sea of Galilee.
19,000. So between Nazlet Khater and Ötzi.
Yep. He lived when the climate in the Levant, that region, was generally cooler and more arid than today.
And his body. Similar signs of hard work.
Yes. High bone robusticity, pronounced muscle insertions, likely from lots of foraging. But interestingly, he also showed some trends towards gracilization.
Towards being more lightly built.
A little bit, yeah. So a bit of a mix there.
Okay, and the final one. This one sounds important.
Dolní Věstonice 13. Yes, this one is key. An exceptionally preserved 30,000-year-old male skeleton from the Czech Republic, Central Europe.
Same age as Nazlet Khater, roughly, but completely different environment.
Totally different. He lived in the really harsh glacial environment of Central Europe during the Upper Paleolithic. We're talking the last glacial maximum, deep freeze.
Wow. And genetics?
Genetic analyses from other Dolní Věstonice individuals suggest a mix of Western and Eastern European human lineages. So he's a fascinating example of early Europeans adapting to extreme cold.
That's quite a lineup. 4 very different individuals.
And to put them in context, the researchers compared these 3D ribcage models with 59 modern human individuals from diverse climatic regions.
Modern comparison group makes sense.
And crucially, they also included 2 Neanderthals, Kibar II and Shanidar III, and the Homo erectus specimen, the Nariokotomi boy, in that comparison group.
Yeah, so comparing ancient sapiens not just to us, but to other hominins too.
Exactly, to see where these ancient Homo sapiens really fit in the broader human and hominin story.
Okay, so the big reveal. What did this remarkable cast of ancient Homo sapiens actually show?
Well, first off, the study found that the fossilized rib cages from the early Homo sapiens, Nazlet Khater II, Ohalo II H2, and Dolní Věstonice 13, all showed what the study calls characteristic rounded or globular proportions.
Globular, meaning sort of generally rounded, like ours.
Yeah, that basic rounded shape that's pretty typical of modern humans. This consistency suggested, okay, there's a shared fundamental chest structure within our species.
Right, so that initial observation, the globular shape, might make you think, okay, the classical idea of a slender Homo sapiens body plan still kind of holds.
You might think that initially, yeah. But here's where it gets really impactful.
Okay.
While they all shared that basic globular shape, the study found that the size and the specific shape of these rib cages were actually tied directly to the climate their owners lived in.
Ah, the climate connection.
Exactly. So individuals from warmer or more temperate climates like Nazlet Khater II from Egypt and Ohalo II from Israel, they tended to have smaller, more cylindrical rib cages.
Cylindrical, like narrower.
Yeah, relatively narrower and smaller overall. Quite similar, actually, to modern humans from similar warmer temperate regions today.
Okay, that fits the climate adaptation idea. Hot climate, smaller body surface area relative to volume helps dissipate heat.
Precisely. But now, prepare to have your assumptions challenged.
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
Early humans in the colder environments, like Dolní Věstonice 13 from Ice Age Czech Republic, possessed significantly larger and broader rib cages.
Larger and broader, so stockier.
Definitely stockier. The researchers proposed this was likely a key adaptation for heat retention. Bigger volume relative to surface area helps conserve heat in freezing surroundings, like Bergman's rule, basically.
Right, the classic ecological rule. And Ötzi, where did he fit in?
Ötzi's rib cage, interestingly, fell somewhere between these two types. Not quite as massive as Dolní Věstonice 13, but not as small as the warmer climate individuals.
Which makes perfect sense given his lifestyle, moving between alpine cold and valley warmth.
Exactly. It potentially reflects his need to adapt to those significant seasonal temperature changes he likely experienced moving through the Alps.
Okay, but the Dolní Věstonice finding, that sounds like the real bombshell, larger, broader. How did it compare to, say, Neanderthals?
This is where the study makes its major breakthrough. The Dolní Věstonice 13 ribcage, remember, Homo sapiens like us, was almost as large volumetrically as those found in the Neanderthals they compared it to. like Abara II.
As large as a Neanderthal's. Wow.
And get this, in terms of width, it was actually wider, proportionally similar to the Homo erectus narioka.
Wider than a Neanderthal, similar to Homo erectus. That's unexpected.
It is. Now, it's important to remember, as we said, the Narioka boy was a juvenile, so his adult anatomy might have been even larger, which makes this comparison even more striking.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What does this all mean for how we understand human evolution, our own species?
Well, it completely forces us to reevaluate that long-standing belief that Homo sapiens ribcages were always less robust, always more slender than those of Neanderthals and Homo erectus.
It shatters that simple dichotomy.
Absolutely. It's like, finding a modern human today with the massive build of a strongman competitor and realizing that kind of build wasn't just an anomaly, but potentially common among our ancestors, depending on their environment. The researchers state it pretty clearly. They say if you strictly interpret their statistical results, the hypothesis that the slender Homo sapiens body plan is a solely derived condition.
Meaning unique to us, evolved later.
Must be rejected. Fossil Homo sapiens are not necessarily similar to recent modern humans in terms of their overall size and shape. Dolní Věstonice 13 is the prime example.
So much for one-size-fits-all Homo sapiens.
Exactly. This research, and I'm quoting loosely here, suggests a great morphological variability in Homo sapiens. That's all Homo sapiens, fossil and recent, that cannot be reduced to a generalized slender body plan.
So variability is the key word.
Huge variability. It strongly underlines that our body shape depends not just on our genes, but also on the remarkable climatic plasticity of our species, our ability to adapt physically to different climates.
That's incredible.
And what's truly striking here is this. While slender rib cages do seem to be a feature unique to Homo sapiens, you don't really see them in Neanderthals or H. erectus. Stockier rib cages, like those found in those other Homo species, are also encompassed within Homo sapiens' natural range of variation.
So we have the capacity for both slender and stocky builds.
Exactly. And this anatomical resemblance between, say, a cold-adapted Homo sapiens like Dolní Věstonice 13 and a Neanderthal might be driven more by similar climatic adaptations, convergent evolution, essentially, rather than just strict genetic closeness.
Wow. That really does reshape our picture of what it means to be Homo sapiens. Much more flexible, much more variable.
Much more.
So this deep dive into ancient rib cages, it really broadens our understanding of human body variations, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
The findings suggest our physical forms are way more complex, more context-dependent than we previously thought. It really emphasizes the powerful role of climatic plasticity alongside our genetics.
It shows just how incredibly adaptable our species has been.
Yeah.
And, this raises a really important question for future research. If cold climates were a key driver for stockier builds in some of our Homo sapiens ancestors,
like Dolní Věstonice.
Right. Then what other factors might have driven the development of a stocky body plan in hominins who lived in temperate or even warm environments?
Oh, good point. Like who?
Well, think of individuals like Homo heidelbergensis from Cima de los Huesos in Spain, or some Homo erectus finds from places like Gona in Ethiopia.
Not exactly icy environment.
Not at all. Yet their remains often suggest they likely had pretty wide and deep rib cages too. So it wasn't just cold driving stockiness in hominin evolution. What else was going on? Activity levels, diet, different genetic factors.
It opens up a whole new set of questions.
Exactly. It pushes us to consider a much wider array of influences on our evolution beyond just temperature.
And it also highlights something about the methods used, right? A bit of nuance there.
Yes, it's a good point. While these geometric measurements of the 3D ribcage models are incredibly informative, they capture these broad trends in size and shape really well.
Which is what we've been discussing.
Right. But the researchers do remind us that discrete anatomical features, subtle things like the specific shape of individual bones or where muscles attached, these are still key for distinguishing different hominins in ribcage studies.
And those details might not always be fully captured just by measuring overall geometry.
Exactly. It adds another layer of complexity to interpreting these ancient forms. You need both the big picture geometry and the fine anatomical details.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's try to wrap this up. We've just unpacked how this really cool new dive into ancient rib cages from Ötzi the Iceman way back to our earliest ancestors across Africa and Europe reveals something remarkable. that our species, Homo sapiens, possesses, well, a far greater range of body shapes and sizes than we previously imagined.
A huge range.
And this incredible variability was profoundly influenced by the climates our ancestors had to navigate. It challenges that simple old idea of a consistently slender modern human.
Definitely throws that out the window.
And instead shows our species astonishing adaptability.
It really does. Our plasticity is key.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Considering this deep dive into how climate shaped our ancestors' physical forms so powerfully, how might our modern environments think about it? The architecture of our homes, our constantly air-conditioned workplaces, urban heat islands, sedentary lifestyles. How might all that be subtly shaping our physical forms today in ways maybe we don't yet fully understand?
That's a fascinating question. Are we still adapting just to a completely different set of environmental pressures? And what might that mean for human evolution looking forward into the future? Something to ponder.